All right, let's just dive right in. We're not talking about data tonight. We're not looking at history. Nope. Tonight, we're stepping on to the haunted bus.
So picture this. You're heading home, it's late, and you are just completely exhausted. You manage to catch the very last bus. But what happens when your last bus isn't really the last one?
Our story kicks off on one of those tired, dreary nights. We meet our main character, a commuter named Tushar. He's just had a super long day at the office, and all he wants is to get home.
It's late and it is pouring rain outside. You can just imagine Tushar sprinting through the streets, absolutely desperate not to miss what he knows is the last bus home. And he just barely makes it, climbing on board as the doors hiss shut behind him.
He catches his breath, sinks into his usual corner seat by the window, and just feels this wave of relief. But that's when he notices something. A little off. The bus is totally empty. It's just him. Now, that's a bit unusual, even for a late-night run, but he just figures the rain probably sent everyone home early. He's so exhausted, he decides to just close his eyes for a minute.
And this is where things start to get weird. This is where a totally normal commute turns into a very strange journey, and where reality itself starts to, well, bend.
Tushar dozes off for what feels like just a couple of minutes. But when he blinks his eyes open, the bus is suddenly packed. I mean, every single seat is taken, people are standing in the aisle. It went from completely empty to completely full in the blink of an eye.
Tushar's just confused. Where on earth did all of these people come from? Could so many passengers have really boarded at a single stop without him even noticing? It just doesn't make any sense. But he's so tired he kind of just dismisses it and closes his eyes again.
He drifts off, and the next time he wakes up, you guessed it, the bus is completely empty. Again, just like when he first got on. The silence is just thick and absolute.
But here's the thing that starts to really get to him. The bus never stopped. There were no stops for that huge crowd to get off at, so where did they all go? His confusion is now starting to curdle into this creeping sense of fear.
And just as he's trying to wrap his head around it, a really sharp, distinct smell cuts through the air. It's the scent of a beedi, a type of hand-rolled cigarette. He looks over, and sitting right next to him is an old man he hadn't seen before, his face like a web of wrinkles.
Tushar asks the old man about the crowd of people that just vanished. The man takes a long drag from his biddy and says, with this strange, cold tone in his voice, 30 years, son. For 30 years, I've traveled on this bus every night. Then he leans in a little closer, and his eyes seem to pierce the darkness. He gives Tushar this warning. After midnight, no human dares to get on this bus. Tushar tries to kind of laugh it off, blaming it on the rain and just how tired he is. But the man's words are just hanging there in the air, sending a chill down his spine. The old man's unsettling stories are just too much for Tushar's tired mind to process. He dozes off one more time. And when he wakes up, maybe 5 minutes later, the old man is gone, vanished. The seat next to him is empty, the smell of the beedi is gone, and the mystery just keeps getting deeper.
So, this is the part of the story where things go from just weird to truly terrifying. Tushar is about to have an encounter with real fear. He's about to find out he is definitely not alone.
His eyes scan the empty bus, and then they lock onto the seat right in front of him. There's a man sitting there, completely focused on reading a newspaper, his face totally hidden behind it. Now think about this for a second. It is 1 o'clock in the morning, on a deserted bus. Who is reading a newspaper that intently? Tushar's heart is just pounding in his chest. His breathing gets all shallow. He gathers up all the courage he has, and in a voice that's barely more than a whisper, he asks, "Brother, who are you?" The man doesn't say anything at first, and then so slowly, agonizingly slowly, he starts to lower the newspaper.
And as the paper comes down, Tushar sees his face. It is a mangled wreck, just covered in blood. One side of his head looks like it's been crushed in. His eyes are just empty, lifeless voids. Tushar screams, but his voice is just swallowed by the silence of the bus.
He squeezes his eyes shut, trying to unsee what he just saw. But then, a cold hand touches his shoulder. He forces himself to look. It's the same man, but his face is perfectly clean. There's not a drop of blood, not a single wound. The man is smiling faintly as he asks, "You got scared, didn't you? Strange things happen on this bus at night."
Tushar is just frozen with terror. The man offers him a bottle of water, then walks toward the door of the bus. Tushar watches, completely horrified, as the man simply jumps from the moving bus. And he hears it, a loud crash, followed by a scream that cuts right through the night.
Tushar is just left there in stunned silence. But the horror isn't over, not yet. Now he's about to learn the bus's real, horrifying truth.
Tushar knows he has to get out of there. He runs to the door and makes his move. 1, he jumps from the moving bus, stumbling onto the wet pavement. 2, he scrambles to his feet and turns back to look. 3, he sees the bus for what it really is, a half-burnt, twisted wreck. And 4, he looks inside, and it's filled with people. Dead people, lifeless bodies just sitting upright in their seats.
And as that ghostly wreck rolls away into the rainy night, he looks at the window, and peering out at him, he sees a faint smile. It's the face of the man with the newspaper, and right there beside him is the old man. They're both among the dead, watching him. Tushar is left standing alone in the rain, the only survivor of a ride with the dead. Which leaves us with one final question for you. If you escaped the haunted bus, would you ever tell anyone what you saw, or would you just try to forget?